I'm your host, Patriotism. Beginning to our session, the title for our talk is Populism and Patriotism. So we have this Afiya Shehrbano here, who is a feminist researcher and activist based in Karachi, Pakistan. And we have our second guest, Ms. Shamsi from Samaa, a celebrated award-winning humanitarian journalist and with wide experience in television. Thank you.
Hello, welcome. I know that there's other very interesting sessions, so we're very grateful that you walked in. I think it's Piety and Populism and Patriotism, not just the alliteration of it. The reason that this was fascinating that Afiya asked me to be with her on this session is because I think there's a connection between which I can see. But I used to with somebody, for instance, we were talking a lot about Habib, for instance. We talked a lot about the approach. And these were conversations that we had a lot on in terms of what they represented, the kind of agency that they got on social media, how they affect politics, and Piety as well in terms of the approach in politics, which is populism, in terms of Habib as well. Afiya has a presentation and I'm personally looking forward to it.
Thank you very much, Amber. Actually, पिछले साल जब मैं इधर थी तो मैंने एक पेपर प्रेजेंट किया था on the state and women's sexualities. और उसमें बहस मेरी ये थी कि पाकिस्तानी state जो है is currently backing a very specific kind of faith-based project. और उस पर मैं तवज्जो लाना चाह रही थी कि under the governance of the PTI, it's not like other governments have not had projects, but the PTI has a very specific kind of project, and I've seen it over the last year unfold into something more tangible, and that is why I wanted to put it pictorially कि उसमें आपको I think ज़्यादा वाज़ेह तरीके से नज़र नहीं आता है. Particularly as a feminist, I'm interested in the role of women and how the state engages, disengages, makes them targets or co-opts them. कल्चर वॉर्स के बारे में तो हम जानते हैं और ग्लोबल लेवल पे उसके ऊपर बात भी करते हैं that America has a global cultural agenda, India does via its cinema, via its various cultural expressions. लेकिन within states there are cultural wars and cultural battles, if you like, being fought out every single day. In our case, it's been dominated by the narrative and the very creative genius of military dictators. I think with the exception of Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, जिन्होंने शायद ये चीज़ पॉइंट की थी on Islamic socialism. But if you look at the rest of the projects or the narratives, there have been things like General Ayub Khan's Basic Democracy or modernization of Pakistan, जिसमें औरतों का एक खास किरदार भी रहा है. General Ziaul Haq की Islamization project was also one that had women is central to that project. By the time we get to General Musharraf's fake enlightened moderation project, that you see how important the role of women is to counter this idea of the Muslim woman being an oppressed subject, and if she is, he was going to rescue her. And similarly, we are now at this point where we have Imran Khan's project of the Riyasat-e-Madina, and although I suspect that he thought of this one all by himself, I don't think there was too much assistance going on there. So very often when he talks about it, you can literally hear the wheels churning in his mind on what he trying to grapple with. What exactly is this? You know, he gets a glazed look in his eye for many reasons, but in particular, this idea of let me work out what I'm thinking about. So I wanted to present this pictorially a little bit for the first 25 minutes or so. A disclaimer है कि all these images are on the web, and I've probably violated every copyright law or rule that there is. But I want to go through these with you, and then perhaps explain to you what I think, why I think the role of women is critically important and we need to be alert to it. उस वक्त पिछले साल जब मैंने प्रेजेंट किया था तो मैंने यही कहा था कि इमरान खान is the perfect specimen of this project. But he is somebody who needed a Bushra for this because she had to be the pietist cover to his historical reputation. It's not easy to erase his, not just his philanthropy past, but he has a child out of wedlock. He's been accused of sexual harassment within his own party. और इसलिए ज़माना नहीं है कि आप किसी तरह से उनको बगैर क्लेंस किए प्रेजेंट करें. लिहाजा Bushra is of course the one interview that we heard of her, and Erdogan and white veiled. There are people who object to this idea of commenting on the veil or commenting on her clothes or commenting on any woman's public. And I think that's absolute nonsense. There is no such thing as an empty signifier. Everything we wear, everything we do as political personalities, particularly, is a performance in itself. बहुत अरसे तक ये भी कहा जाता था कि मुस्लिम उम्मा अगर वेल करना चाहती है तो उसके ऊपर बात ही नहीं होना चाहिए लेकिन वो Islamist women themselves to talk to them they say what nonsense we wear this as part of our resistance we wear this as part of our politics it's intrinsic to our identity so this is a liberal squeamishness let's not talk about it in fact the white veil is so significant that in Iran if you wear a white veil you're actually seen as part of the resistance against the veiling imposed by the state. It's called my aesthetic freedom और वो एक पूरी तहरीक है जहाँ हम protest में सफेद veil करेंगे. But so Busha is of course the Erdogan admiring white veil and also the class factor is very important. This is not a black Jamia Hafsa veil that's operating over here. It's not about radicalism. It is very much a white veil. Sufi, upper middle class, agentic, politically embedded Punjabi woman, and that's very important. I think the only thing missing is that she didn't go study at the Lahore University of Natural Sciences, really. But everything else is all Rajasthan. So anyway, that I think is an important feature, and the slide actually encaptures this idea of the importance of this project. My argument as a feminist is that this is a very patriarchal act and patriarchal act. So what is the deal with Piety? Why is it important? One of the main things is actually a shift away from this idea of Islamic politics and Islamism and the entire debate that has been embroiled in for 20 years. It's this softer side to Islamic politics. And what happened is that Islamic politics was easy to dismantle or easy to either defend or attack. But Piety is far more society-based and far more diffused and difficult to find a center to it. It expands and diffuses and fills up society to a large extent. और historically piety या modesty या तकवा या शाइस्तगी होना आपको पाकिज़ापन जो भी आप कहते हैं piety को was part of very much part of a reformist main project. Whether it was Shehrbano in 1905 or subsequent reformist projects जो हैं Muslim world में piety is prescriptive for women, modesty prescriptive for women. And the important thing is feature that आप historically देखें, it focuses on the idea of taming the sexual, taming the fitna potential of Muslim women, making them into respectable and creating this respectable feminine subject. Very important in this process is to craft those ideals. And when you subdue and tame the sexual, you are actually creating those bodies. और अगर आप देखें madrasa literature in Pakistan, most of it focuses on empowerment and how Muslim women can actually get empowered और उनकी जगह बनती है. What we don't look at is there are several studies done by Mohammad Ali Farooq in 2006, in which he is looking at this idea of how spiritually stable is taught as part of the jurisprudence curriculum to girls in madrasas. Boys learn Islamic fiqh, but women are taught Ashrafi Khan's spiritually stable. And he says categorically that it's about creating docile bodies, submissive bodies. The fourth feature I think about piety important is it's never private. Or if it is private, it's not for very long. It spills into the political. And one of the most significant texts which claims this has been Samaa Mahmood's book on politics of piety, in which she says unapologetically that piety is political. And this is a mutabadil politics है मुसलमान औरतों की और इसमें apologetic होने की जरूरत है. So I think that she busted this myth that it's only about dawa and taqwa और self-excellence या self-virtue को pursue करना और इसमें कोई हरज नहीं है. It's this fine cusp it sits on and tips over into the political. And the last and most important feature for my sort of feminist consciousness is that it completely merges and it sits very well with capitalism and with the consumer society and the Islamic industry. So this idea of the pursuit of self-excellence fine, but post 9/11, as I said, this scholarship study in India which shows the agency of Muslim women through their piety or via their piety. And my disagreement with this, and maybe अपनी किताब में और अपनी thesis में भी है, कि that's fine, all this literature is fine and it is very interesting for the West as well, but we never discussed the political consequences of this agency. So जब तकवीयत और ये शास्त्री और ये मदरसा politics becomes जामिया हफ्सा की ओर में, we don't want to connect that with piety. Then we start going to false consciousness और बहाने बनाने लगते हैं at different points. But we don't want to discuss the political consequences or potential of it. The other issue I have with it is that it discredits this liberal feminism, liberal secular feminism, which has become this juxtaposed or hyphenated word. I don't even know why all liberal feminism is also secular or all secular feminists are also liberals. But ये एक sort of tradition बन गई है या critique बन गई है. And what this literature does is it talks about the subjectivity of Islamist women and Muslim women and piety. लेकिन जो feminist, local feminist की context है, उसके ऊपर कोई तवज्जो नहीं. There's a presumption कि all Pakistani feminism is liberal secular and लिहाजा इसका मुतबादिल जो है वो pietist women है और empowerment within the religious discourse. The third thing it does is if you look at literature on Muslim women globally, with the exception of some literature on Iran, there is absolutely nothing on Muslim women's sexualities. Just nothing. No academic work, no ethnographic work. बहुत कम है. ईरान में जो अच्छा काम किया है is either transgender or it looks at sexuality in terms of reproductive rights or even hygiene. But in terms of sexual beings, sexuality itself, sexual desire, that desire, all this literature gives the impression that Muslim women have no sexual desire. They only have this pietist desire and this self-virtue and self-excellence and relationship with God. And of course, what happens is सारी हमारी transgressive potential या subversive politics जो है वो इस पे ही तवज्जो देती है. Piety, that seems to be the only route in which you can perhaps be successful in your politics in a Muslim context. Of course, what I argue is that actually what I've shown repeatedly is that this agency, this pietist agency, not just benefits and stabilizes patriarchy, it benefits and stabilizes patriarchy, but it also maintains the Islamic gender or the Islamic sexual order. And there is enough literature on what the sexual order or gender order should be. So of course, one of the most sort of the vanguard of feminizing piety, because piety used to be a Muslim male project, and it was a male project in Pakistan as well. I haven't got the slide for it, but it wasn't just in state-led narratives, जैसे कि वो मिलान का एक program होता था, or even on TV, piety was sold via trivial pursuits, programs, entertainment, televangelism. But I think Farhat Hashmi, what she did is she feminized the piety agenda for the first time. And of course, had to bring it into the public. Like I said, this is not a personal project that can go on. It has to spill over into the public. It has to spill over into becoming accessible through media channels. And I think the idea of spreading Muslim women's pietist project was something that was also embraced. There are about 15, 16 theses ongoing on Al-Huda. मतलब सबसे ज़्यादा काम अगर पाकिस्तान पे औरतों के ऊपर हुआ है तो it's you find something on Al-Huda connected to it. It's become our go-to place if you want to do a thesis, particularly from Western universities. And again, they focus on the sort of the ethnographic details, Fashi interviews, interesting insights. But there's only one text, which is by Sadaf Ahmed, that actually deconstructs the patriarchy and actually categorically says, ठीक है, fine, ज़रूर है, ये तकबीयत है और ये शायस्ती है और ये piety pursue कर रही है और self-excellence. But she's saying two things which are very important. She says they teach them very categorically the two-nation theory in a very anti-India, anti-Hindu curriculum, and that they sort of suggest and pursue this idea of patriarchy and a woman having a certain role in the family, in society, and a limited one. Okay? So that's fine. So far, we were sort of people arguing with me, इसमें कोई हरज नहीं है, कोई agenda नहीं है. And then we come to the next slide, which is a sort of a more recent one. That eventually the argument is that pietist agency, you can defend it until it actually crudely comes back to its patriarchal roots. So when earlier this year Farhat Hashmi makes the statement that actually marital rape is not a thing in Islam, okay? Then suddenly the feminists of Pakistan are sort of a bit taken aback. Now they're confused. How do we defend this, you know? And there's two kinds of reactions that came. We can discuss that later. But my main point is that ये patriarchal base जो है वो सिर्फ एक academic ने उसके ऊपर तवज्जो हमारे लिए आई थी 20 साल से, but otherwise it was all kind of, if not an apologia, but certainly looking at the other way, not looking at the politics of piety, just looking at piety. So the next one. So of course, like I said, this is very essentially a merging of piety then becomes part of patriotism. It's been a masculine project. Junaid Jamshed, again we're confused about how to deal with this guy. Coke Studio has a tribute and celebrates him but doesn't want to talk about his religious side or all of that that he carried on in terms of when he redeemed himself. And the rest of society and the state wants to claim him but wants to forget about his top iconic years and going against the grain of a certain period under Ziaul Haq when music was controversial in itself. So he in some ways stands on the cusp of both, but of course he redeemed himself by becoming a pietist subject. And of course then it all comes full circle with Imran Khan where his piety is no longer international. Soon after elections, he goes full, just prior to elections in fact, he goes full out to perform his piety with Bishara. And this project of the Homo Islamicus is something that I talked about last year, that this is a very specific project that we see unfolding in Turkey. And it is part of Erdogan's Justice Party project, in which there is a proposal that we merge religion, Islam in particular, with capitalism. And we merge these in a way that it creates a new hegemony. In a new hegemony where the Homo Islamicus or the Islamic man is somebody who's a God-fearing leader or a God-fearing entrepreneur. Right? He has to be one of these and who is also mindful of his something called our culture or our tradition or our Islamic history. And it's important to merge these two to give the impression that वाकई हम एक रास्ते मदीना create करने जा रहे हैं. This is not IMF led or donor led project. This is very much indigenous or local. Next one. So the female Homo Islamicus is also an interesting project. ये सिर्फ जो है academic या तबलीग या दावा या तकने के थ्रू नहीं आ रहा है. There is, we see now in pulp fiction, Kawati gadgets के अंदर जितने भी sort of in the last 20 years, maybe in the last 20 years, they're becoming stories which are becoming TV drama scripts and they're infiltrating popular culture. And they're hugely successful. I mean, these dramas and these scripts, Umaira Ahmed's period comment has a very specific protagonist who is struggling with this idea of how to become the pious subject. And I think what's interesting is not so much I think it's interesting that these women authors are dealing with the male psyche and the Muslim male struggle. But I think what's important to me is that the feminine in these, the woman character in these stories, has to be tamed and domesticated. That is her role in these scripts. She's constantly apologetic for being modern. She's extremely prone, the protagonist, the female protagonist of this, is prone to sexual lapses. And if she's not sort of lapsing herself, she's being accused of sexual transgression that she's never committed. She's innocent. However, she has to wait. She has no agency of her own. She has to wait to be forgiven. And so it's in some ways it's inverting the entire activism of the Zina ordinance that we were in. Right? At that time, ours was not about redemption and about being found innocent. It was demanding the right that this is an unfair and unjust law and unfair and unjust focus on it. And therefore, there was all our stories of transgression was fighting this state of time, not waiting for redemption or waiting to be rescued. But this is very much part of the narrative that is flowing through entertainment or literature or pulp fiction, or even if you don't want to call it pulp fiction, popular fiction. And as we see celebrity personalities as well. So of course, Veena Malik I think is one of the most obvious and one of the first clear projects, state's project of embedding, not just embedding women nationalists, वो तो एक आसान काम है, but the difficult thing is first to redeem them. So you have to redeem these women. And particularly when she has eyesight tattooed on her, that's not really a great thing for her to go and do. And there's two ways to deal with these women. Either you let them be out there and continue their subversive project, or tattoos लगाती रहेंगी, BGIs की आपका नाम लगा लेगी or whatever. So for fear of that, we need to redeem this. So go to the next slide. And they do manage it. I think the state manages it superbly in a way that no feminist group could, no progressive group could, not even the religious outfits or groups. We would think that this is a state now who's dominating. And if if you look at the kind of things that she says, the state is sacred and so are state institutions, and activism is dangerous for our country and society. So immediately she jumps into this. Team Park Zindabad. Pakistan under IK has risen in the ranking of ease of business. That's something I don't even know, but Tina Malik certainly knows where we are on the ranking. She is also involved in this interesting and I'll come to that in a bit, about speaking about other and discrediting other women activists, right? This is also a trend that we see increasingly. So, on one level, that's okay. They redeem and put Veena Malik into this pious, not just pious outfit, but also pious narrative. But the state is not taking any chances. They say it's not just the pious women or going the pious route. We're going to go for these celebrities who are in jeans and considered to be modern and sort of English speaking. There's no one kind of woman that they're looking to go. And so Mary Shayad out of nowhere received the Tamil Dance this year. And the reason that I really like this slide is because the president of Pakistan used to be hardcore Jamaat Islami at Karachi University, a place where we couldn't even sort of cut birthday cakes and say, happy birthday kind of story. Jamaat Islami was sort of so vigilant about that. But here he is presenting this Tamil Dance to this woman who is symbolizes everything that you would think would be the antithesis of piety and sort of, and it's only always convenient to have a uniform somewhere lurking in the middle. That's the next one. So, what does she do there? Right? So, you go off meet, and I know exactly what kind of agenda I'm going to be pursuing within the state structure. But then Shehrbano sort of suddenly becomes this expert on and starts talking about human rights. And human rights are a very specific kind of what the Ministry of Human Rights is today. Speaking on Kashmir, you speak on Islamophobia in the West, you talk about the injustices of Bollywood's representation of Pakistan. And what she's actually very good at is dealing with trolling on both sides. She gets trolled by the Indian side, she gets trolled by sort of more conservative voices, and also by those of us who are disappointed in that, why would you sort of take on this agenda on your side. So in effect, what she's doing really is rewriting the human rights discourse. And I think this is why it's important to focus on it. There's students at Punjab University who asked me that, so what? This is a good cause, girls' education is a good cause. And my answer to that is repeatedly that of course it's a good cause. But what it's doing to the human rights discourse is suggesting that it's deciding and prioritizing what are good causes. And none of them are going to be controversial. None of them are going to be about sexuality. None of them are going to be about anything that is outside of the state. It's going to be girls' education, Islamophobia, and India and Kashmir and all the rest of it. So I think that's the important thing to focus on, not whether it's a good cause or a bad cause, but it's going to be a non-controversial cause. Next. So similarly, other women, when I start as a singer, teaching at the thing, I think there was some generous dancing over there that made this a controversial issue. To the next slide. So this is sort of, I think, when Mary Business and Pakistan military has tired of making cakes and cereals and biscuits, so they decided to make Pakistani films now. And what they've done in that is, they had Ila play the Indian bad girl, and she performs a dance item number. And I think most people who saw the trailer or even saw the film, they missed the bindi on her forehead and sort of decided to get offended by it. It's also interesting what you get offended by. And they decided to get offended by it, and they said, what the heck, this is something, fahash fun, and the exact opposite of what pious projects are supposed to be promoting in Pakistan. It's a propaganda film, and how they show a dance item. So, just in case you didn't get that, go to the next slide. She then sends up a disclaimer. Okay? That's how much troll these women get, and how much backlash they get. And she says, I only did this song because it's a project of ISPR, because if there's any ambiguity left about that, she clarified that. This is my first and last idol song of my life. But I'm going to try Pakistan ke Hamisha Rajan Hazare kind of thing. I'm sure you will watch it. So she has to send out this clarification. But that's not enough. DGISPR decides to deconstruct film theory to you and to show you and to explain to you. Okay, the pehla item, the song comes by an Indian girl in a movie. As per the rule, you should watch the movie to know the context. Something we keep saying, please watch the movie. But he says, and he explains the other GHQ event was on television. Next one, please. So if it was the next. So I think at this point the question is, okay, so you're all familiar with these, particularly those of you who are on social media are familiar with these images. The question is here, then, I mean, so what? What is the purpose of this project, right? And I think it's important to point out that who's being targeted by this project of piety and populism and patriotism. It's number two. So my suggestion is that this is what maintains the patriarchal order, piety, populism and patriotism. But piety से मुखालफत या एक challenge जो है वो feminism भी करती है, because feminism is not about sustaining or stabilizing the order. It actually disrupts and it creates, it talks about inequality, and it's not talking about stabilizing any order based on gender or race or class. So it's not going to fit in with the pious project. Similarly, dissent, populism is one way of, if promoting a certain narrative or promoting a certain perspective that the state wants you, that what the state wants to popularize. And the only way you're going to interrupt that is if you dissent against the state narrative. So dissenters are not good characters in this case. And patriotism, because it's so merged into this idea of Islamic Republic of Pakistan, that any secular or civilian critique is necessarily going to be seen as the nemesis or the antithesis of patriotism. So the state decides the first three, it decides who and how and through whom is going to do this, and then there's us at the bottom who are necessarily going to have to deal with these issues, right? The other thing that these projects do is that they create this good and bad kind of trends in society. Piety is supposed to very much take, as I said, and counter the bad one. And who is the bad one? The liberal, the secular, the sexual, feminists, all at march performers, divorced women, LGBTQ, those who say that men are always victimized by men because they falsely accuse them of harassment. That's a very strong trend, and I'll show you in a couple of them. Those who don't repent, to deviate करती हैं Islamic sexual order से, ये बुरी होती है. पेट्रियोटिज्म का मकसद ये है कि जो प्रूवन ट्रेडर्स हैं उनकी मुखालफत कोई ना करे, उनको ट्रेडर भी ना कहे, बदनाम भी ना कहे. Maybe we have created and imagined traitor, the unproven ones, right? You don't have to prove them, and you have the Pashto, the Hafiz movement, or any sub-nationalist movement, right? She's the bad woman. Anyone who demands rights, or person who demands rights of the state, they're not even asking rights from the United Nations or the international level. They're asking all these rights from the state itself, and yet they are considered to be terrorists, right? An NGO. I think the important and interesting thing about populism is that actually it's this soft power. And what its benefit is, it masks very brute, crude military agendas and military processes. Right? So for that, to soften the blow of that, yes, Imran Khan is one, and handsome and popular and all the rest of it, but you have celebrity leaders and non-controversial causes, and those people help, those populist or celebrity figures help soften the mask and give the impression like the Punjab university girl last week, इसमें हर चीज़ है So there are, of course, the feminists that I talk about, those who don't repent or who refuse to repent. Right? They don't fit into the agenda. They don't fit into the state narrative. They actually don't even fit into feminists because they've got this sex positivity thing going on that Habib had. And she fits nowhere, and I don't think it's a coincidence that she has to pay for that with her life. The price she pays is her life. And it's in complete contrast to, I know people don't like binaries and whatever, but it's in complete contrast to the Veena Malik example. In which, by redemption, she is rescued and saved, and she has now a purpose in life. But Khalid Baloch doesn't have that luxury or that way out. There is no exit strategy for Khalid Baloch. The same thing with thousands of audit marches. To say things like they pass a Korea, to actually challenge the patriarchal order in words, in slogans. These slogans are important, and it's not something to be dismissed at, because these slogans are what make up narrative. Right? It's either images or slogans. Nobody reads books anymore, and nobody wants to know your thesis anymore. They just want bottom line, what your tweet, what your bottom line reductive thesis is, and when you do it, then you get the backlash for that as well. Okay, so there's this now point that we now need to get white women to proceed to promote a nationalist agenda also. All these years we were told that don't believe brown women should be rescued by white men. It's the reversal now. And Gunalai Ismail actually points this out. She says, have locals fallen short of giving a positive image of the country, that even positive image building has to be outsourced to white people, right? To white people. Far more sort of insidious, I think, is this game now of playing women off women, right? And using challenging feminism, like it's something that the Jamaat-e-Islami women used to do very well in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and in their politics. They would take up the woman question and completely undermine it in terms of the rights-based discourse. And now we've got celebrities, right? It's not the veiled women following it, it's not non-progressive, regressive women or in burqas. It's people like Dina Malik saying, I'm so sorry that somebody had, a man was falsely accused of sexual harassment, and you're taking me into the wrong direction. And such low-life women take the celebrity, the credibility of gender harassment cases. Because gender harassment cases की बहुत फिक्र है और वो getting its credibility. And then again, we get all credit to our armed forces for bringing back normalcy in the country, and more. So, next one. The merging of the nationalists and the sort of speaking against our political forces, feminism is merged. With regard to dissenters, of course, there's a direct naked kind of agenda being followed over there, and it's got faces and personalities behind it. Right? I think for the longest time, none of us knew who the DG used to be, who the Major General used to be. Now it's about his celebritization as well. He's a very important and he's sort of on a high about it as well. If you follow his Twitter timeline, he's like the Pope of Pakistan because he's constantly saying bless you beta, and people are hankering and craving for his attention, and he is the Pope who keeps blessing everybody after that, except for these guys. Now, I think it's important to talk about Father Rizvi only in the sense that एक और मेरा जो मसला with piety was that it's always considered, and someone who did this as well, gave the impression that it's only a gender project, it's a women's project, Muslim Women's Party, Muslim Party. But in fact, if you look at the history of Father Rizvi and other pietist movements in Pakistan, it's been extremely male-dominated. And what nobody wants to discuss is what happened to his party when it spilled over into politics. Right? And look at the power that, yes, we keep saying that the state is behind this, the state is behind that, but then you're denying his agency. So where does that story fit in, right? If we challenge Muslim women's parties movements, then we are denying their agency. But what about these guys? When you say they are state-sponsored, and when you say that they are, then you are denying their agency as well. So I think we've got to get a handle on how we approach the party subject. Anybody who does a secular critique or questions कि क्या कर रहे थे और लिफाफे क्यों बांटे जा रहे थे, so you can see the state's sort of backlash and wrath that falls on justifies this side of it. So who are the true patriots? The patriotic part, we looked at the feminists, we looked at dissenters, but the true patriots are, of course, obviously the people who violate the Constitution. And he's absolutely right. The Constitution is a piece of paper that means nothing. It's all about image, and it's about uniform, and it's about what you're wearing, and it's about apparatus, and it's about rhetoric and narrative. And that completely, it's not the Constitution that rescued the General Shehrbano. It is exactly all these features. Except for religion, I think everything is good. And that's a testament to it. ना वो मोदी का याद था, ना वो बदलाव है, लेकिन ये लोग जो अपने हकूक रियासत से मांग रहे हैं और जायज़ और लीगल हकूक हैं और आईनी हकूक हैं, वो ट्रेटर्स 1-2 मिनट नहीं लगते हैं आपको to begin a whole campaign of calling them traitors, whether they're women. And then the focus वो भी जायज़ होता है कि उन्होंने लेदर जैकेट पहना है, उन्होंने लाल स्कार्फ पहना है या क्या पहना है, suddenly those things. So we ourselves in terms of fall into this trap of what props we allow up for academic conversation and which ones we dismiss and we want to pretend and are squeamish about not discussing. So the state over here needs more freedom only because they keep calling them architectures instead of architects or whatever project that they have. And the background architectures का मतलब main common characteristic ये है कि वो failed Marxists हैं. भाई अगर failed है तो छोड़ दें, मतलब fail हो रहे हैं अपने project के अंदर. लेकिन डर और खौफ उसे भी है कि failed Marxists है, पता नहीं क्या कर देंगे. And I think that's what's interesting is that he is a failed Marxist. But his most of grind is that he visited fairs festival. So now it's also about mobility, presence, and where you're going to be happy to be seen, right? If you visit the fairs festival, not only are you failed Marxist, but you're also a subversive. Similarly with Aman, PTM affiliated Marxists. And I think what's interesting is the jury is out of the fairs. sometimes fairs can be co-opted for state narratives, and at other times it's the most subversive thing and confused narrative. It's a breeding ground for anti-park and anti-army elements. So this also is something interesting. I think that there's a continuity. The only continuity that I find in all of this, apart from increasing and amplifying, is that women and ethnic minorities are continuing to be seen as traitors. This is a historic. This is an ad out of, actually it's an advertisement from Dawn newspaper, in which is this beware thing on why is Ghaffar Khan in Kabul, and then they thought just in case really stupid and you don't know why, let us tell you why, and then they actually said fine we did, but then tell us why he was there, and then they say, oh it's very obvious, the language, it's very obvious why he was over. And of course, and they also link him to Fatma Jinnah in that particular ad. And this is an ad from 1955. So you put nahi cheez nahi hai, it's just that the level of it has become such that we forget that this has a certain historical trajectory. And the last feature regarding populism is, as I said, it's never a very innocent project where the state co-ops it. That you have never Shayad, not just she probably wasn't even born when General Musharraf was this great president, and he deserved the opportunity to. He was a president who guided us through some very difficult times. Right? I'm pretty sure he doesn't know what those difficult times were. But look at the sort of agenda of women becoming not just defenders, but defending the traitor, and military military interests and military historically portrayed. I think an innocently proven guilty. So Veer Malik insists now quite rightly that the king of fifth generation warfare is the DGIs. And this is also something that it's a Mubahada hashtag. And usually directing the youth of the country towards higher causes. Social media, which she's absolutely right about, was once a meaningless hub, has now become very meaningful and right? All because of him. He's digitalized this country and whatever. She talks about Cyril Almeida, Mr. National Disgrace, and all the rest of it. And I think it's quite cute that in the end, some commentator said, this is too much English. It's way too much for us to swallow. I want to end now with this one feature. This is something that I did actually get permission from Rashid Rana. And the reason I didn't put it into the original, I have too many P's coming into the presentation. But I think the importance of pornography is also something, because sexuality is understudied, pornography is also something that is not looked at academically in the Muslim world, but certainly in Pakistan. And I think what's important over here is what Rashid explained to me as well, and I think it was a really interesting comment that he made. He said, look, this series has actually never been shown in Pakistan, and it's also not been shown in too many other countries. And the reason for it is very interesting. He says that what he wanted to show through the series was that there is, the contradictions about the Muslim woman and this visual expectation that the burqa and the presumed absolutes of Muslim women's identity, which always associate them with either violence or sexual oppression. That's the only two kind of themes that are associated with the Muslim woman. So he wanted to highlight and juxtapose the macro and the micro, as in all his work. लेकिन ये miniature images जो सारे हैं are actually pornography, right? And what's even more interesting is that he doesn't use indigenous pornography. And it's interesting because he says that he was very uncomfortable with the way local pornography is collected and accumulated. What happens is बहुत से आके mobile phones हो जाते हैं, they're actually used to produce pornographic material. And people were offering him that pornographic material to use in it, but he didn't use that. He uses, sort of more template kind of pornographic images. But what's interesting is वो कहते हैं कि Western countries में, Europe में and America में, this series was not allowed to be shown. And the reason over there was this sort of political correctness and this fear of causing offense to the Muslim viewers or causing offense to Islam. Except for in Hong Kong, where the issue was the opposite. They didn't want to show pornography. Forget about Muslim sensibilities and all the rest of it. Forget about pornography But I think this is an important point to end, Amal, because I think what Rashid is attempting to do over here is to show the contradictions of gender politics and sexual politics in the Muslim context with regard to the Muslim woman. And my point is to try to show that these sexual politics, gender politics get sidelined gets undermined by this complete focus on Muslim women's piety, on this populism project, and on patriotism. And the rise of new piety, because this is new piety, is swelling in opposition to sexual self-fashion. We have a lot of pietist self-fashion and self-excellence, but certainly you can't do that and claim to do that for sexual self-fashion. So I think for feminists, this is a very important point because we are sort of split on this idea, we're on the cusp of this idea that we want sexual freedom. Certainly there's a movement that's started. We want freedom from sexual violence, certainly, right, and sexual harassment. But we're not ready to deal with how to reconcile that project with a Muslim context, with Islamic politics, and with the backlash that has come last year with the Order March. So at some point, feminists are going to have to deal head on with this idea of, even if you don't want to call it secular resistance because that raises everybody's habits, but do you think sexuality and sexual freedoms is going to create that kind of a backlash? You're going to have to grapple with secular resistance, with sexuality, and certainly find some kind of framing, whatever you want to call it, pluralistic framing, freedom framing, वो ज़बान narrative और तरीक़ेकार हमने भी अभी तक नहीं सोचा है और तैयार किया है कि करें. पुरानी feminists थी वो तो कर लेंगे, they were quite categorical in how to frame it, in universal human rights discourse. Now that's up for debate and discussion, and we have to reconcile with that.
Pornographic CDs, and I was trying to get a story out of the guy at the counter. And then, my constant barrage of questioning really irritated me. He said, Baji, rakari hai. Baji, asal masla, ye CDs nahi hai. Asal masla hai ki khawateen ke paas mobile phones are. And I think that to me really illustrates what you're talking about as well. But two quick questions, and then I'll open it up on the floor. Because I'm really fascinated by, you talk about the legal. Let's talk about Harim Shah as well. Because I think they are not feminist, but they are challenging this project that you're talking about, Piety, Populism, Patriotism. How do you think she fits in?
So, देखिए एक बहुत important चीज़ है that we have this expectation that anybody who interrupts the state narrative or interrupts the patriarchal order has to be a feminist herself, has to claim this feminist identity, and she must be categorical, वो किस किस्म की feminist, and that's not the way feminism works, right? If you are subversive, and there are people in this audience today also who do subversive things in their own way. There's a young woman over here, she trolls DGISPR all the time, right? And she's hilarious and she's extremely subversive. I mean, I'm not even on social media and I know that, right? And I think she troubles. The problem is that when women...
Which is why our account is suspended. Twice.
So I think that's the only way. The only way you can shut down debate or to shut down a voice, a subversive voice, or potentially subversive voice, is there are only two ways. You either kill her, literally, and get rid of the body, kind of thing, or you sort of discredit them so much. You sexualize them because sexuality is a problem in Pakistan, particularly women's sexuality. It's subversive. So I think all women who are sex positive are not necessarily feminist, but the fact that we as feminists read feminism into it is a completely jaiz project. Particularly because she's interrupting the patriarchal order.
And I think it's interesting that her targets particularly have been Sheikh Rashid and Fayaz Hassan Chauhan. Jamaat-e-Islami, they both represent they represent the establishment, they represent conservative, they're links to conservative groups as well known as well. Another question, and then I'll open up to the floor. Do you think Maulana Tariq, for instance, is an instrument of the fifth generation warfare?
I don't know what fifth generation warfare. Only these guys know what it is. I think Tariq Jamil is interesting for a different reason. I think he has a huge, not just a huge following, but I think he manages to do this interesting. So he's the one guy who actually can forgive you if you get blasphemy case put on you. He's the guy you want to become friends with. So it's a different kind of power that pietist characters have. I don't knock it, I don't dismiss it. I think there is tremendous power that these have, which is not unconventional power. It's non-state power in that sense. And you don't want to be sandwiched between the two because then you become Junaid Hafiz or you become scholars who are liberal, secular or whatever. But if you are to blaspheme, if you are to get into trouble, you either have to have the state on your side or you have to have grounded power centers, whether they're religious power centers or military power centers or judicial power centers. You need a friend. And the problem with feminists, with dissenters, with Pashtun Tahaffuz movement is that they have no friends. They have no friends in the state and certainly not in the other institutions.
All right, thank you. I'll open it up to the floor. We'll take 3 questions.
Okay, so thank you for that. That was very interesting. Right when you were ending, you spoke of sort of reconciliation. So my question is, as modern, conscientious, educated women, can those women aspire for secular feminist ideas but also defend their pietist sort of agency? I mean, are they really mutually exclusive?
Okay, we'll take another question. There was another one over there. We want some gender balance as well. We don't just want the women answering the question, please.
I'm Samaa. I'm a PhD scholar in television. I'm a philosophy teacher teaching from Karachi University, University Hall. And I introduced myself as intersectional and global feminist because I work in global studies, post-colonial feminism. So I have been following you. I've been citing your book in my thesis as well. Sometimes not very happily, sometimes very happily, and definitely can be critical as well. Well, you talk about that even as Muslims, they are becoming capitalists. Now, my question is that Hayek, who wrote a book, Constitution of Liberty, he says everything would be included in capitalism and neoliberalism. I personally do not feel, with my experience in philosophy and with feminism and education, that we can exclude anything from capitalism and neoliberalism. Even feminism is not liberated from that. Secondly, when I listen to you, I always feel there's always a gender fight. We cannot talk into something which is intersectional, something which is overlapping. And we always think that women are good, men are bad, and patriarchy is always from men, though this is not so. And secondly, secular feminism is something very different. Like for instance, I am always judged because of this scarf. But when I talk to my Maulana Sahib, they say, Astaghfirullah. So it's not that. There is a big gray area where we can work together as well. And secondly, being secular feminists.
I'm sorry, I'm going to sort of stop you there because you've already sort of made your point. Afiya will respond. I want another question. Could I have you at the back? Sorry, we'll come to you as well.
Thank you. My question is just simple. That if we talk about first wave of feminism, it starts from 1782 and end in 1920 after allowing women voting power. Is this still matriarchy in West or equality in West? If there is no matriarchy or equality in West, how we will consider that feminist movements, successful feminist movements in Pakistan? Secondly, most of the campaigns like Baraj Lao movement from West come there like Baraj Lao movement. So हम ये कैसे बिलीव कर सकते हैं कि अगर वेस्ट में ही मेसोजिनिस्ट अभी भी स्पीचेज होती हैं उनकी असेंबली में, तो पाकिस्तान में कैसे फेमिनिस्ट कामयाब हो सकती है, इक्वालिटी कैसे होगी?
All right, thank you. Okay.
So the issue about that's an interesting question about pietist and secular. I don't see them as it's not about mutually exclusive or mutually inclusive की बात है. ये बहस काफी पुरानी है. पहली बात तो ये मेरा सिर्फ ये कहना है कि so far we had two kinds of debates in Pakistan with regard to the feminist question. One is that there was a long-term project where we find rights within the Islamic discourse. We find historical, rights for women and women living under Muslim law ने बहुत काम किया है. कानून के हवाले से भी, tradition के हवाले से भी, रिवायत के हवाले से भी, characters के हवाले से भी. The secular feminists, if you like, वो कहती हैं कि बहुत limited project है। ये एक इसके अंदर patriarchal order के अंदर ही कामयाब रह सकता है। You can get rights within the patriarchal order. It's just that you don't आप उसको ज़्यादा don't push the envelope so much that you subvert the Islamic order, the Islamic gender order. So that's fine. You know, I mean, we've had that debate. My question at this point is only that can we begin to have a conversation in which we try, हम ये कह रहे थे कि हमें Western secularism नहीं चाहिए, हमें enlightenment नहीं चाहिए, हमें वो racist वाले human rights नहीं चाहिए जो वैसे हैं. Fine. So what do we want? The question is that are we willing to discuss a pluralistic or secular? We all say we have these progressive ideals. We don't know how to define that progressive. Right? And nobody asks this question when people stand up or students stand up and say we want a socialist kind of imaginary for Pakistan and we want equal rights. But जहाँ feminism जब शुरू होती है तो उनमें फौरन से सवाल आ जाता है कि आप western secularism चाहती हैं, आप western feminism चाहती हैं, आप western enlightenment human rights लेके आते हैं. I'm simply saying that can we begin to have a conversation in defining what are these non-theocratic or non-faith-based rights, whatever you want to call them. I don't have an issue with it. The problem here is that the minute you say secular, the right wing क्या अब तो आपके progressive young feminists and leftists हैं वो कह रहे थे आप Islamophobic हैं, आपने ये कह कैसे दिया कि secular feminist है, ज़रूर ये western agenda होगा आपका. So I think there's an unwillingness to have a dialogue. Who's written a book on secular feminism? Who's written a book on left politics in Pakistan from a religious point on how to deal with the religion question? No one. And so we're not having this conversation. So it's not about exclusive, sort of, or being on separate agenda. But I think at some points you will meet uncomfortable questions, and we should be prepared. I think the Aurat March, if anything it alerted us to, was that there are uncomfortable questions coming up. जब उन्होंने मिनहाजुल कुरान की औरतों ने कहा कि ये तुम इस्लाम के खिलाफ है, ये क्या कर रही हैं आप औरत मार्च, फ्री सेक्स चाह रही हैं वगैरह. What is the answer to that? Only two ways. ये तो इस्लाम के अंदर अलाउड है, किसी हद तक हुआ है, but really not. ये जो सवाल है about capitalism, जी, there's no contradiction between Islam and capitalism. I mean, that's a given. Now, and you're absolutely right, there's very little that is outside of the capitalist industry. मेरा इतराज़ सिर्फ ये है कि Piety जो है, as a project, it is becoming, it's actually propping up and using capitalist props far more. The whole Sharia compliant जो industry है, वो तो उसका मकासद ही ये है कि आप कैपिटलिज्म को जस्टिफाई करें और आप मजहब को उसके साथ जोड़ सकें, जहाँ के आप लीवर ब्रदर्स जो है वो हिजाब शैम्पू भी बेचता है, हलाल प्रोडक्ट्स भी बेच रहे होते हैं, हलाल पोलियो वैक्सीन भी होते हैं, फतवा ले रहे हैं इसके लिए, उसके लिए पैसे देके टेली इवेंजलिज्म पे पैसे इस्तिखारे करवाने तो आप पैसे ले रहे हैं. There is no contradiction. There is no, capitalism is not bothered. It knows how to take advantage of people's faith-based sentiments and the sense of injury. And that's what Roshan had to do. He had to negotiate how he's going to cause injury through his artwork. So I don't think that there's any. I think थोड़ा सा मैं आपको क्वेश्चन करूँगी जब आप ये लफ्ज़ हम इस्तेमाल करते हैं ना intersectional. Very often what we're talking about is hybridity. ये जो आप कह रहे हैं कि can't we be pious and secular at the same time? Can't we be this and that? And I've always said that ये सवाल जो है ये feminism के हवाले से क्यों हमेशा होता है. अब इमरान खान जो है वो सिविल मिलिट्री हाइब्रिडिटी तो चला रहे, इतने ज़्यादा इंटरसेक्शनल है कि इससे ज़्यादा कोई हो ही नहीं सकता है. तो उस पर तो हमें बहुत इतराज़ होता है कि we can't have civilian and military sort of conjoining and a simultaneous project. Similarly, with regard to Punjab hegemony कह रहे हैं आप या other projects, we don't want hybridity over there, but on this issue, on the religion issue and on feminism, we certainly want to make patriarchy more palatable. उसके ऊपर काम करें, उसकी मुखालफत नहीं करें, let's negotiate. So this negotiation thing is, is a sort of a very liberal agenda, and it's an ongoing thing. वो तो रहेगा along with the more radical voices and the community.
The last question.
How can feminism be debatable? Actually, there's, ये भी आपकी, I think you need to study feminist movements history in Pakistan. और मैं यही कह रही हूँ जब ये सारी किताबें निकली हैं on Muslim women's identities, they pretend that there has been no feminism, no indigenous feminism, no local feminism ever. ये हमेशा मगरिब से आई है, दुपट्टा burning, there's been no dupatta burning in Pakistan. And even if it were, it's not a big deal, really. It doesn't signify. The dangerous part about feminism is that it asks to subvert all these patriarchal bonds. It challenges the military in Pakistan, it asks for democracy, it challenges the Chief Justice of Pakistan if he goes beyond an conduct and becoming of a judge, if they violate separation of powers. Feminism is a political agenda, it's a political philosophy and it has political maqasid in it. So, वो ज़्यादा खतरनाक है, you know. What women wear and don't wear is just symbolic of their real politics. Their real politics is about equality of classes, you know, and that's dangerous. Asking for equality across the provinces, exposing, you know, जो नाइंसाफियाँ हो रही हैं फाटा में या पख्तूनख्वा में या सिंध में, and Punjab की जो hegemony रह रही है. I think when it challenges all of these things, that's what should be worrying you far more than whether it's going to be matriarchy or whether it's going to come from the West. Start paying attention to what is happening in the feminist history of Pakistan.
Gee, so we have some more questions. You were left over from last time.
Well, my question is, we have been in a student of media and worked in the media industry for 15 years. We have been watching this representation of women where they have been put in these categories of good and bad women. And, what is, I think, and piety is something that is, it's very closely subscribed to the good woman. But I think it's very important for the Pakistani woman to own her sexuality. And I think we are very, very scared of owning our sexuality and actually talking about it. As somebody who's an aspiring writer and poet, and I'm focusing particularly on women's sexuality, marital abuse, rape, all of these issues women face. As somebody who's unpublished, my biggest fear is to find a publisher brave enough to take on that narrative. And I'm not finding anybody in Pakistan. I don't find that support system in Pakistan. For women. You were talking about how women are not working with women. So I think in order for us to have own our sexuality, own our problems, we have to stand together and we have to work together. So what would your advice be to somebody like myself who wants to publish work on sexuality but finds myself in this dilemma where I feel there may be a fatwa against me, or I might end up being considered a traitor or just put in the category of being a bad woman?
Alright, we'll just take more and then.
Share the way you have defined and everything regarding feminist movement and all. The question is the agenda of feminism in Pakistan right now. If I start with the history of feminism, the first movement was regarding suffragette movement. It was regarding right of vote. And the second was personal is political. It was the political rights of women. And the third wave was about the reproductive rights of women. So my question is that what wave is going on in Pakistan right now? As we have achieved all the rights of women as far as history is concerned. So my question is that this question is repeated with examinations as well. That what type of feminism or which way of feminism is going on in Pakistan, especially?
Okay, last question. Yes, आवाज आ रही है थोड़ा सा ऊंचा.
अच्छा, मेरा नाम वलीद जी और मैंने आफिया वो मैंने किताब उठा ली तो वो मुझे समझ नहीं आई. ठीक है, मेरा सवाल ये है कि वो मतलब लिखी किसके लिए है, उसके अंदर रैंडम सेंटेंसेस एक पैराग्राफ लिखने हैं और एब्स्ट्रैक्शंस की बात भी बड़ी है. अब मैं एक लेमैन फेमिनिज्म के लिहाज से पाकिस्तान के फेमिनिज्म को समझना चाहता था. मुझे तो किताब चाहे तो बाद रखनी पड़ी है. तो मैं कौन सी बुक रेफर करूँ पाकिस्तान के अंदर फेमिनिस्ट जो एजेंडा है जो भी सिस्टम चल रहा है उसको समझ सकूँ, क्योंकि ये मुझे रिसर्च पेपर ज़्यादा लग रहा था, किताब समझ लग रही.
थैंक यू.
साउथ एशिया ये इंडिया में भी एक शिकायत रहती है कि एकेडमिक काम जो होता है वो शायद किसी ने लिखी है इस तरह से बताती हूँ कि यूजुअली एकेडमिक्स जो है वो एक दूसरे से कॉन्वर्सेशन कर रहे हैं, वो एक दूसरे के मुताले को चैलेंज कर रहे होते हैं या उसका साथ दे रहे होते हैं. और थियोरेटिकल काम जो होता है चूँकि एकेडमिक डिसिप्लिन है, ये सिर्फ वुमेन्स राइट्स के बारे में है, एक पॉलिटिकल फिलोसफी है. और पॉलिटिकल फिलोसफी आप कोई भी पढ़ेंगे, मार्क्सिज्म, आई डोंट नो ऑन द जूरिश क्वेश्चन आपने पढ़ा है क्या पढ़ा, वो कोई खास आसान टेक्स्ट नहीं है पढ़ने के लिए, और हमें भी 2-3 दफ़ा पढ़ना पड़ा था जब हम स्टूडेंट्स थे. सो मे बी यू कैन स्टार्ट विद द टेक्स्ट विच देयर इज कमरा बसीम एंड निगल सईद खान का एक काम है व्हाट इज फेमिनिज्म. दैट वुड बी अ गुड प्लेस टू स्टार्ट। किशोर नाविक की पोइट्री है, बहुत से अदबी तरीकों से फेमिनिज्म को, इट्स नॉट जस्ट अगर एकेडमिकली आपने नहीं समझना है तो एकेडमिक किताब ना हो, पहले ही बाकी चीज़ें आप अगर पढ़ेंगे तो आप स्लोली यू बिल्ड अप योर नॉलेज ऑफ फिलोसफी एंड बी एबल टू आंसर। मैंने ये किताब लिखी थी इस जवाब में, ये जो 20 साल से मुस्लिम वुमेन्स पार्टी के ऊपर इतनी तवज्जो दी जा रही थी, लग ऐसे रहा था कि मुसलमान औरत की और कोई शिनाख्त ही नहीं है। तो मैंने ये कहने की कोशिश की थी कि उनकी सेक्युलर शिनाख्त भी होगी, वर्किंग क्लास में। लेडी हेल्थ वर्कर्स का कोई ताल्लुक इस्लाम से, मजहब से नहीं होता है, लेकिन उनके काम के हवाले से वो खुद बेशक कुछ भी प्रैक्टिसिंग मुस्लिम हो या फेथ बेस्ड हो। सिमिलरली उकाड़ा की जो हारी औरतें या मजदूर तबके से औरतें जो जिनका ताल्लुक है, वो रोज़मर्रा का जो काम है, रोज़मर्रा की जो उनकी तहरीक और जद्दोजहद होती है, उसका कोई ताल्लुक फिलोसफी से नहीं है, लेकिन वो एक मजहब से भी नहीं है। और वो अपने हकूक़ के लिए जब लड़ती है, उसको मैं फेमिनिस्ट एजेंडा होती है। सो आई एम सॉर्ट ऑफ आंसरिंग दैट टू दैट। ये जो सवाल है कि व्हाट यू नो अबाउट how, you know, I can't give you any sort of advice about publishing, but let me just give this at least. जब आप सेक्सुअलिटी के ऊपर काम करती हैं, जो रिवायतन यही रहा है कि we always focus on sexual violence, ठीक है? Now, what I'm talking about sexuality is that surely there is another experience that is not about violence, yes, about desire, about pleasure, and that's the missing literature. There's nothing but violence के ऊपर काम in Pakistan. There's lots of it. We continue to do it. It's flooded the markets, right? The donor market as well as academic. So I invite you to move away from that. Yes, it's not easy to get published. Trust me, it wasn't easy to get something published on secularism. और उसके backlash भी बहुत आया, both within and outside of Pakistan. So I don't think that should determine what you want to do it, but and younger students of mine certainly are working on sexuality. They're looking at pleasure. They're interviewing each other as a starting point, and they're having study groups and discussions about it. So we always think कि हम सबसे पहले काम कर रहे हैं, actually not. It's out there. It's just not documented. I'm not the first person to work on secular feminism. I just was one of the early ones to document it. So you know, begin your work from that perspective. आपका सवाल इकोनॉमिक कौन सा एजेंडा है, कौन सा, लेकिन I think the other thing that is vastly missing in Pakistani literature or women is about economic empowerment. Or forget empowerment, about the political economy or the gender question. या अगर कोई कहता है कि मुझे बताएं मैं औरतों की लेबर फोर्स पार्टिसिपेशन उनकी क्यों नहीं है, मुझे तो ये भी नहीं पता कि मैं कौन सा टेक्स्ट उठाऊँ। तो ये एक बहुत बड़ी खलल समझ लें। पाकिस्तानी फेमिनिस्ट हैव नॉट वर्कड ऑन इकोनॉमिक थियरी। So Naila Kabir has a whole theory about economic empowerment. Latin American feminist का बहुत काम है इस हवाले से। पाकिस्तान में ये चीज़ें नहीं हुई। And if you don't have strong women studies centers in the universities, none of our private sector universities have gender studies as a department. I mean, that's a huge loss. So I think आप मजबूत करें इदारे को जो इस किस्म के इदारे को ठीक टाइम के फेमिनिज्म पे बनने नहीं मानते, तो यूनिवर्सिटीज़ ही हैं जहाँ जेंडर स्टडीज़ के डिपार्टमेंट्स जो हैं उनके ऊपर आप लोगों को स्पॉन्सर करें और इनकरेज करें कि वो इस किस्म की लिटरेचर निकालें, एग्रीकल्चर, वुमेन इन एग्रीकल्चर, वुमेन इन इकोनॉमिक, लेबर फोर्स पार्टिसिपेशन और इस किस्म के काम करें।
Thank you, Habib. Our time is up. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here.
Thank you, John.